From the Battery Street studios of KCBS Radio in San Francisco, this is Bay Current, keeping you current on what the Bay Area is talking about today. I'm Matt Pitman. It's Monday, October 4th. For many of us in the Bay, we'll be hearing a lot of this a little later on this week, which means it's Fleet Week. Beginning Thursday, the Blue Angels start practice runs over the Bay for its weekend shows over Alcatraz and the Golden Gate, a Bay Area tradition. Actually, it's the 40th anniversary of Fleet Week in the Bay Area, with deep roots celebrating San Francisco and the Bay Area's history as a major hub for the U.S. military over the decades, especially to the men and women in the Navy.
San Francisco is the most fun city for a sailor to arrive in and spend a week, for crying out loud. The parties used to be really raucous out in the streets.
That familiar voice is my KCBS radio colleague Jim Taylor. He's about as OG Bay Area as it gets.
Born and raised, at the Presidio, actually, which makes me a military brat in a way. Yeah. But it was only for a couple of weeks. And then
So born and raised here, what sort of memories does Fleet Week invoke for Jim Taylor?
You know, it's funny because if you go back to times of the Vietnam War and demonstrations against it, Fleet Week was not really embraced as much as it is now. Now, it's like not only are tourists coming here to look at it, but locals come out too, and it's a feel-good event. There is always something very colorful and traditional about the pomp, the ceremony, the boats coming in, the ships coming in under the Golden Gate, spreading into the bay, all the fireboats shooting there are streams of water into the bay ahead of and around the big Navy ships that are coming in. That's feel good. People can congregate on the Golden Gate Bridge and watch it happen.
The story of the Navy, the Marines, is a huge part of San Francisco's history, given its proximity here on the West Coast and during the Second World War.
Sailors who would end their time in the Navy would get discharged here in San Francisco. So there was, over the years, and this goes back generations, a huge post-Navy population here in the Bay Area. A lot of it male. A lot of it coming out of the service. A lot of it, the reason why there's has always been a burgeoning homosexual community here. Yeah. And that gets celebrated on Fleet Week and always has, man, let me just tell you.
This year, there's a much bigger significance to Fleet Week, beyond the pageantry and the pomp of the parade of ships, greater even than the roar of the Blue Angels rippling overhead. This year, it's normal. It's the largest public event in San Francisco and anywhere in the Bay Area since the start of the COVID pandemic. Fleet Week went virtual in 2020. And we shouldn't lose sight of this. Even if you aren't down to get all patriotic with the military-themed parts of the festivities, or maybe you don't like big crowds, full BART trains, or searching for parking, this is a big deal for all of us. This year's Fleet Week is the only live, in-person Fleet Week event of its kind in the country. LA, Seattle, New York, they all get a virtual Fleet Week for a second straight year. Basically, because we've all done our part to keep our COVID numbers in the Bay Area some of the lowest in the nation, we get to have nice things that other parts of the country don't.
Because of our high vaccination rates, 82% of eligible San Franciscans are now fully vaccinated. We are seeing the effect of our group efforts and the efforts that we've made over the last 18 months.
That's Dr. Grant Colfax, Director of Public Health for the City of San Francisco.
One more little step that we're inching our way back towards something like, I hate to say normal, but our new normal. So does this feel like a little bit of a milestone?
Well, just look at the progress we've made in the last year.
Right.
We are making great progress, and I think Fleet Week is an indication and a celebration of how far we've come. We still have some ways to go, but I'm cautiously optimistic about the future.
For folks that are coming in from out of town, from out of state, that may not be completely up to speed with everything that is mandated here in the city and here in the state, what are the main things that they need to know so that they can
they can stay here and enjoy themselves and contribute to our local economy, which needs Fleet Week this year.
Well, I think that what people need to know is the vaccinations are saving lives every day, and so really encouraging people to be fully vaccinated is really, really important. I think that we've had tremendous support in the city from the business community about the vaccine requirements, so that's another key point. And then, of course, masking, again, whenever possible. We know how to slow the spread of COVID-19. We know how to mitigate the worst effects. It's really with these vaccines, and in situations like this weekend, masking will likely play an important role as well.
So again, I imagine there's a great sense of both personal pride and pride with your department and for your community to be able to pull off an event like this and have those safety measures in place. That said, what's personally, Doctor, your favorite part of Fleet Week?
Oh, my favorite part of Fleet Week is definitely all the Blue Angels and the boats on the bay. I mean, it's a spectacular event, and really excited about having it again this year.
Yeah. Dr. Colfax, thank you.
Thank you.
I caught up with another Bay Area native feeling the civic pride.
Born and raised here in San Francisco.
San Francisco County Sheriff Paul Miyamoto. The main question I wanted to ask him is one I kind of think about a lot. For a lot of folks, these first big gatherings since the pandemic will require that we dust off some of those social graces. And sure, I don't think that'll be a problem for most of us. But what are large crowds and gatherings for the first time in over a year going to look like? For a lot of people, this is new, coming to something this big and being surrounded by people, sitting in traffic again, looking for parking, all of those different things. Have you found that whether it be concerts or other, kind of return to normal activities, that you guys have to prepare a little bit differently because people are doing something they haven't done for many of us, in over a year?
I think that's a very astute observation, that people are going to be, their behaviors may be slightly different. Where patience used to be something that we would have everyone experience when waiting in traffic or waiting with large crowds. Now that might not be the case because we've been out of that practice for so long. But we're prepared to deal with people that may behave badly, but not in a way where we want to make arrests, or not in a way where we want to treat things as criminal behavior. We want to have people have a good experience and de-escalate things, or, just make sure people realize sometimes their behaviors affect others.
Do you guys have to be mindful of perhaps offering support to, say, a restaurant who might have someone who is from out of town here for Fleet Week, and they didn't bring a vaccination card, or they're not vaccinated, or they just, God bless them, do not want to wear a mask? I think we all have seen the clips on YouTube and TikTok.
Absolutely.
All over the place,
and
right?
I think we're going to continue to see some of those clips. And if they occur here in the city during these festivities, that's something we're also prepared for, because we've had to deal with that already.
In what capacity is it in support of a restaurant or someone that calls you, or is it something that you guys see and then respond to? How does that work?
It's in terms of being a call for service, it's not really one, because it's more of it's a health code violation, obviously,
but more in terms of like when people get unruly, if they want to start to
that's more of a civil type of thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
And if it rises to criminal behavior, that's when the police or sheriffs are called in to deal with the situation. But usually when you see that, it's a lot of just disputes. This is just disputes between things, and the property owners, the restaurant owners, the business owners are standing on solid ground because they are basically just adhering to our health orders.
This is part one of 2 Bay Current podcasts on Fleet Week that I'll be bringing you this week. Part 2 coming up on Thursday.
And we got north here, and that's the Golden Gate.
Golden Gate, and right in front of us is Alcatraz. So there we go, north.
Alcatraz,
Okay.
Angel Island.
Yeah, features a gentleman who's seen every Fleet Week.
47 years.
From the undisputed best view in the city.
You know the Blue Angels?
Yeah.
And see them from here?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you have to be here to see it. On those days, the Blue Angels will come very close to the buildings.
Really?
Now it's against the law to come too close to the building, but you can see the faces of those guys before.
You can see their faces?
Oh yeah, the building will go, they will shake.
Again, that's Thursday. Don't miss it. As a matter of fact, guarantee you don't miss it by subscribing to Bay Current on the Odyssey app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And thanks for listening today. From KCBS Radio, I'm Matt Pitman. Talk to you again tomorrow.